encapsulates the household information, that's the digital information of the household, the farm information, and then the activities that are taking place, and then also linking it with service providers, as well as the banks. So the LBCs are also, interconnected in this whole system. And with that, before even we supply fertilizer, already we know your farm, and everything had been electronically, captured. So, for instance, your farm information will give us the farm address. And for just plotting the farm address, you know exactly where your beans is coming from. The beans are coming from. And now, with this cocoa management system interlinked with the service providers, we will be giving subsidies. For instance, the federal subsidies will go directly to the farmer. And once the farmer receives the subsidy on his cell phone, that subsidy is not transferable. He can only go to the nearest fertilizer company and then, take his fertilizer. So this is what is at stake. And with that, when the farmer also goes to sell his cocoa, the scale, we introduce digital scales, the scale on which the cocoa is even going to weigh is electronically calibrated. So once the cocoa is, weighed, the information will come to the master database in Accra, and we know how much you've sold. So if honorable, you took fertilizer, we gave you subsidy, you took 100 bags of fertilizer, subsidy 30 bags. It means you have to pay 70 bags. And the 70 bags, once you sell your cocoa, it will be, offset. And so with that, I think all this issue about non-payment will come to pass.
Yes, I know that you are doing the registration of farmers. I myself have been registered. But how soon will this come true? How soon? Because this is a laudable idea, but how soon will it take place?
Chairman, hopefully by October, we will have covered the whole country. We have a few districts to cover. While those districts are covered, by October, we want to roll everything out. Thank you.
Now, you said you have appointed a debt collector. Has he started work?
It's a unit within Cocoa Board.
Okay, so they are working?
Yes.
What is their outputs? Is there any prospect that their work will yield more results so that this balance of 72 million can be recovered?
Chairman, there will be an improvement. We will do our best.
So what do you suggest for those farmers who are not paying? What do you suggest that the committee recommend for the House to consider?
Chairman, I think the whole thing boils down to education and sensitization of our farmers. And also, the same thing should go to us as politicians. When we go out there, we should also take part in this sensitization program, that fertilizers collected by farmers on subsidy ought to be paid.
Hey. You want us to be your marketing officers?
No, Honorable, because I've already indicated
or debt collectors.
The problem is not even the farmers. The problem is not the farmers. The problem has to do with we, the politicians. So
you are mentioning politicians today, in fact, more than 20 times. You also said Honorable CEO.
You are also a politician.
Order. You also said that you know the politicians who have been helping the smuggling of fertilizers. Can you mention those politicians who are helping in the smuggle of fertilizers?
Chairman, I said politicians have been helping in the smuggling, but not say that I know.
You said it. You said it.
Oh.
You said it.
Maybe
You said it. I don't want to argue with you. The record is there. You said that. You said you know the politicians who are doing that. And I want you to record that. But if you don't know them, then kindly withdraw that statement or move forward.
Oh, Chairman, honorably withdrawn.
Honorable Sophia.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, please, I would like to find out from the director what's the status of the National Survey and Redemarcation Program began 2 years ago.
Honorable Chair, if I can get some clarity about...
That should be an public interest question, so we haven't gotten there yet. So, no, I won't allow anything again. Kennedy, are you done with your this paragraph 2031?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I want to find out from the CEO, from the Auditor General report, there was an outstanding loan that they uncovered of about $39.8 million. That was granted to two entities. That is cocoa processing company and produce buying company. From their report, they did not find any loan agreement on file, which indicates that such amount were given to these two entities. What do you have to say to that?
Chairman, the loan agreements are there. So, you know, we recognize, and the two entities also acknowledge that there's this loan agreement between Cocoa Board and the two entities.
Let me read it for you, so that you know. I don't know if the auditors are here. Maybe they may want to clarify. If you read paragraph 2030, line 2, it said, we, however, did not see the loan agreement on file. This is from the Auditor General report. So, Auditor General, can you confirm? They say they have agreement. Did you see any agreement of such nature?
Honorable Chair, in actual fact, when it comes to the recovery, we were concerned about the recovery of the amount that was outstanding. So in actual fact, we didn't call for the agreement for us to verify as it is.
But in your said that you could not, there was nothing like that on file. Anyway, let's move on. Once your focus was not on the file but on the recovery, I want to find out from CEO, what is the status of the recovery with on this amount? Have you recovered the amount? If you have not recovered, why?
Be taken from their C2Rs.
Honorable Chair, in the case of CPC, the convert it into equity. And just in line with the previous situation of CPC, which I explained. For PBC, sorry, for PBC, management of Cocoa Board acquired a PBC landed property, that is a car park at Tema, for the construction of 50,000 metric tons capacity warehouse. That is in Tema. And, you know, that was used to offset the amount that was due us. But then we still have $3.8 million US outstanding, and we are deducting it through the, system. As and when they bring cocoa, then we deduct.
I'm done.
There was an issue that Honorable Kofi Adams drew my attention to it, so I'll give him the floor too.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, the CEO, in talking about fertilizer, free fertilizer policy and subsidy, indicated a slump in yield or total tonnage produced in the country. In his answer, he attempted to link it to just fertilizer. I don't know what research maybe went into that the reduction in the total tonnage was as a result of fertilizer smuggled, as a result of free fertilizer. But he discounted the aged farms and diseased farms and the massive cut down of trees and planting of new ones, that period, the product from the cut trees and the diseased trees will not be available in that particular year. And that will surely be added later. So it is to suggest that the slump is as a result of the free fertilizer that was smuggled, I think is going too far. That is all that I wanted to call. There were other factors that must be placed in there. So it doesn't look like, oh, it was a bad policy, and that policy resulted in a slump in productivity. That's just the point I wanted for you to put to you. That is it the case that is the fertilizer alone that contributed?
Well, so okay, Honorable CEO.
Chairman, much as I want to agree with the honorable member that fertilizers are not the only, factors that can account for productivity. Of course, there are other factors, rainfall, even agronomic practices can also influence yield per hectare. Much as I agree with him on that line.
In fact, the product itself can be smuggled outside the country.
Yes, that's also another factor. Much as I agree with him, the issue of cutting down trees and all those things do not arise at this point, because we are talking about 2016, 2017. And the issues here date back even, before 2017. That time, rehabilitation was not going on. It wasn't. Maybe, yes.
Order.
But what we talk about as massive rehabilitation, you see, what was happening was that rehabilitation of diseased cocoa swirling shoot virus disease farms or trees was stopped. It was stopped. It was going on until 2013. They asked the farmers themselves to do the cutting and then the replanting. But Chairman, if you are a farmer. I'm glad that your rank member is a farmer, a cocoa farmer. I don't know, Chairman, whether if you are also a cocoa farmer. Good.
I'm a farmer, but not cocoa farmer.
Chairman, you would have appreciated, you know, the challenges involved. The point is that the cocoa matures around 3, 4, 5 years. By the 6th year, you know, you've started getting to the peak. By the 10th up to about the 20th year, that's when the farmer must reap, you know, from his sweat and labor. Then the disease strikes. Now, I always say that if you are a mate of this farmer, you all went through school, it takes 10 years for the cocoa to mature. If you went to primary school, JHS, you went to secondary school, you will have finished university in 10 years. So the farmer's degree is his cocoa farm. Then the disease strikes. And the only solution is for a farmer to cut everything and replant. So it is not easy to convince farmers themselves to cut and replant. Meanwhile, we are talking about farmers who are aged. The average cocoa farmer in Ghana is 55 years. And when they are 60...
But at the cocoa board, don't we have the technical men there?
Chairman, I'm coming.
Are they not the ones who advise?
No, that was why the policy before was that government was supporting the farmers to cut until 2013. After that, why the policy changed, I cannot vouch for it. But the point is that it was changed, and the farmers refused. When I went round in 2017, I nearly wept, because some of the farmers collected seedlings. And you know, when we were in Parliament, when I was here, you know, we were having budget of seedlings, about 60 million seedlings being produced every year. It was coming, you know, recurring in Cocoa Board's budget statement. And yes, the seedlings were produced all right. They were given to the farmers. But most farmers planted the seedlings under asymptomatic cocoa farms. And when you plant like that, once the roots get in contact, the disease, the virus, you know, we are talking about the virus transferred to the young plant. So we went around, and cocoa, you know, plantations that were 3 years old, 3.5 years old, were not rooting. All of them have been affected by the swollen shoot virus disease. So that was the problem.
The CEO is only admitting that there were other factors, and not because of the smoking. That's the point I wanted to establish.
That one, I've already indicated that, yes, there were other factors. But the point is that...
But for the cutting of trees, it was going on. I agree with you that the policy as it's been designed now... Oh, sorry.
Let's move to paragraph 2040. And Honorable Asante.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Kojo Asante.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. See, according to Regulation 297 of LI 1802, it says it enjoins the head of department to immediately stop the payment of salary to a public servant who either resign or retired, dies or absent himself from duty without leave or reasonable cause for a period as stipulated in the administration regulations of the establishment. But then you are on record that one Bamfulinda Brenda, a nursing officer with a staff ID number 1151970, resigned from the board in August 2017, but was paid an unearned salary of 5,216.37 Ghana cedis in September 2017. See, what do you have to tell the board?
Chairman, at the time of the audit, we did indicate that way back in October 2017, the payroll of Mrs. Banfo Linda Brenda had been made inactive. And we were waiting until his retirement period so that when the retirement was due, then we can, retrieve all the payment that had earlier been done. And we've done exactly that. We've retrieved all those amounts. And I think we gave supporting evidence to the auditors. So it's been retrieved.
So auditors, can you confirm to that?
Honorable Chair, yes, we saw the evidences showing that the money from Madam's entitlement. Thank you.
Yes, if there is no further question, then probably I will move to 2047. The auditor's review was that the Cocoa Road project indicated a producer price review committee in collaboration with Cocoa Board and the government of Ghana agreed that an amount of 150 million United States dollars should be set aside from the appropriations to develop roads in Ghana in cocoa growing communities. This agreement commenced in 2014-2015 financial year, and as at the end of 2016-2017, a total amount of 1,642,500,000 Ghana cedis had been accrued as funds earmarked to develop cocoa roads, as shown in table years 136. And then we have the various financial years here, 2014 to 2015. We have the yes. So can you speak to that?
Before you respond, let me find out from auditors. The financial year of government is from January to December of every year. Why are you saying 2014, 2015 financial year? 2016, 2017 financial year. Why?
Honorable Chair, Cocoa Board's financial year differs. It starts with September to the following year, October to the following year, September. Thank you.
Why are you people still in the old system? Why? Is it because of the season? Okay. In the season, okay.
Yes, so financial year 2014-2015.
Yes, Honorable Chair, I will let my FNA continue for me.
Mr. Chairman, the yes, 14-15, the monies 15-16, 16-17, and from the work that we have done, I can say here that all the outstanding matters have been dealt with. The new board of directors and management, upon assumption of office in February 2017, first of all directed the suspension of Cocoa Roads for some work, value for money assessment of the projects to be done. That was indeed carried out. It covered 14-15, 15-16, 16-17. So after the due diligence exercises were taken, was done, management took steps to ensure that the contractors who were duly contracted to do the work, all the payments were done. So over the period 14-15 to 16-17, a total amount of the 1.8 was actually paid. We also made further payments from January 2017 to date, amounting to 1,597,268,106.61, which actually brings the total payment, the global payment, to 3,409,068,314.54. So, Mr. Chairman, on an annual basis, Cocoa Board continues to make budget allocations for Cocoa Roads, and upon presentation and verification of interim payment certificates, these payments are done. So, Mr. Chairman, everything has been done and was duly passed on to the auditors for verification.
Thank you. Auditors, can you confirm that for us?
Honorable Chair, yes, it's a process. So all the monies are being paid to the contractors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in response to the last question, he indicated that they suspended the cocoa rules for the purposes of some value for money, and for which reason the total amount of money they ended up paying was about 3 billion. As a result of the value for money, did you identify any infraction in terms of the award of the contract, for which reason the suspension was done? And do you also agree with me that having suspended the construction of those roads for a period of 3 to 4 years would have increased the cost on the state?
Chairman, the suspension was not 3 to 4 years.
How many years were they?
2 years.
So even 2 years. Do you
Yes.
agree with me that in construction, if you suspend a work for 2 years, considering the fact that cost of production of input increases, would have increased the cost of the execution of the projects?
Oh, certainly, yes. Cost will not be the same. But the point is that you were going for value for money audit. And that was what was.
Was there any information that occasioned the need for the value for money audit to be done? And I say this on the basis of the fact that did you suspect that the contracts were not properly awarded, for which reason you had this value for money one? And the last one, what was the results of the value for money and at what cost to the state?
Honorable Chair, I think this matter had been asked here before. And the rules of the House are very clear on such matters. It's been asked before, you know, right from inception when I came to office, this question was asked here, and I did explain, and I gave an example that if you take the road from Samnaboye to Prestia, originally it was under GOG. At that time, was just around 18 million. Now, when the road was ceded to Cocoa Board, repackaged for Cocoa Board to do, but that's the description they gave, with some limited scoping, the amount went up over 100 million Ghana cedis. Of course, when you come and meet such an exercise, definitely, you know, you want to do some value for money audit to see how that huge price increase, or because the road had moved from GOG to Cocoa Board.
Mr. Chairman, he is making reference to a specific issue. The directive was that all cocoa roads, and I ask this because I served on the board, and the particular road in reference, the variations changed. And if the variations changed, certainly the cost wouldn't be the same. And we are making reference to a specific road. But the directive was that all cocoa roads be suspended so that value for money will be done. And that is why I asked the question whether something genuinely occasioned the need for the value for money to be done in all the cocoa roads. And two, the amount of money we spent as a result of the value for money, what did it worth it?
Again, Honorable Chair, I think this question has been asked in Parliament. The Minister was asked this question, and we provided an answer towards that. But in any case, you are asking a very pertinent issue. It's not just one. Normally I give a number of examples. The case of Benchima Junction to Adwefua, the money that was intended for site office was used in building a bungalow at Nungwaberia. It's on record. So when you come to meet such a thing, you don't just let it go. You have to investigate. How come money intended for a site office finds its way in building a bungalow at Nungwaberia? So these are some of the, the details are in that document. I think the documents were brought to the House, I believe.
Mr. Chairman, my last question is, we did the value for money. At what cost? How much did the state expend in the value for money? Because I'm aware of consultants who were using monitoring. I want to know how much we did that, at what cost to the state, and whether it worked. And in any case, did you need to suspend those projects for the purposes of those specific investigations, knowing very well that as the projects delayed, is going to increase the cost that the state will spend in executing them?
Let me also ask this question.
No, I think there's a question. Let me respond. Let the CEO respond, then you ask your question. They'll move forward.
Honorable Chair, I think in the answer that we gave the minister we provided the minister, it includes the cost of the audit committee. It was an audit committee, and nobody was brought from outside. All of them were Ghanaians that did the work. And the total amount that we expended, I've heard...
It's okay. Let's move forward. No, let's move forward. Ranking, ask your question. On what? Honorable CEO, do you want to mention the amount you spent on the audit?
Chairman, if it will...
You said you were about to mention, so can you go ahead?
You see, Chairman, there have been a lot of discussion on this matter, that we've spent $10 million and so on and so forth. Yes, because, and that's why I believe my honorable member wants to know the real, we spent 2.4 million Ghana cedis. Ghana cedis, not dollars. Ghana cedis. You can go and verify. Ghana cedis.
Yeah, Chairman, I want to find out, if you go to paragraph 2049, the auditors observe that between the period of 2015 and 2017, a total of 232 contracts were awarded to the tune of 5.1 billion, as compared to the available funds of 1.6 billion, resulting in excess of 3.5 billion. I want to find out, why did COCOBOT do that?
Honorable Chair, honestly, cocoa rules, some will say that cocoa rules are not the core business of Ghana Cocoa. That is true, because our core mandate is not to go into cocoa rules construction. But the point is that it's also disheartening to see your fertilizers not reach the farmers. We've had situations whereby articulated trucks loaded with fertilizers cannot, with fertilizers first, cannot get to their destination. And then also when cocoa is loaded, they cannot get to the intake centers. So with that, and even the farmers themselves, we've witnessed cases whereby pregnant women have to be carried on motorbikes to the nearest health centers. So definitely, as you know, an industry charged with facilitating the production of cocoa, we have to be concerned with this. And that's how come all these rules were done. But then, you know, as to why it went that way, Honorable Chair, that time I wasn't in office, so.
But my real worry is that you unfortunately you are now in the chair. You took over assets and liabilities. These contracts that were awarded, that you didn't have funds to pay for, obviously may have resulted in paying a lot of interest and overruns and cost overruns. Can you tell us how much this cost in terms of projects that have been done that has not been paid for, or money there was no money to pay for? Obviously, your budget is only $150 million, but you awarded more than 400% of the budget, and it obviously was a cost to the state. Because I know that in contracting, if you don't pay, you start accruing interest, and sometimes the interest is even more than the amount that. So, how much did this cost us? Can you give us more figures? Thank you.
Chairman, we will have to come back, you know, with the actual figures on that.
Thank you, Chairman. That'll be.
I have two questions or more on this. Now, if funds available for the road construction, the auditors noted 2014-15, 150 million, 2015-16, 150 million, 2016-17, 150 million. How much budget do you have now for road construction annually?
Including my road.
Chairman, you see, that policy had been reviewed. The policy of you know, setting aside part of the syndicated loan to construct road had been reviewed.
What is the new policy?
We came up with a new policy whereby the financing of the cocoa roads is not based on an annual budget life. You know, we've structured it over a 3-year, you know, a 4 or 5 year, you know, period, depending upon the tenure of the road. Some of the roads are 4 years for completion. Some are 3.5 years, and so on and so forth. So we've structured in such a way that the payment is spanned through that number of years, and that's how we are managing it.
Isn't it the same here also, that even if you allocate a certain amount of money this year and you award road contract this year, you don't expect the road construction to be completed this year and use that money to pay. It will run into the following year. So I disagree with the position that, oh, the funds available is 1.6, they have awarded contract to the tune of 5.1. I disagree. Because the 1.6 available this year will be paid. The road construction will not be completed. We'll move to next year, another allocation will be made, part will be paid until the road is completed. So I disagree completely with that.
We are not arguing with you.
Yes, I'm supporting you. And I don't want to be hard on my friends. So, but let's look at this way. On page 447, the exchange rates are 2016, 2017. I'm sure they use the year-end end period rates. So the 3.95 is for September 2017, I believe strongly, which means that by December 2017, the rate would have been lower than that. Maybe 3.8 thereabout, or 3.9. So from January 2017 to date, 5 years and few months. What is the exchange rate today? It's about 8 series or 7 something. 8 series, 20 pesos.
Chairman,
I'm only asking because it affects your operation.
And the substantive matter?
It affects your operation. You see, it has more than doubled, over 100% increase in the depreciation of the city. Again, I will not blame you, I'll blame the management of the economy. Yes. The managers of the economy are to be blamed. Let's move forward. So let's move on to Honorable Sampson, paragraph 2054.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I see you. Let's go to page 2054. But before then, earlier on, I wanted to ask the question, and Chairman stopped me. It was simple because of the rate, the exchange rate, the exchange loss of the 190-something difference. Because you can.
Honorable member, is that your question?
That is my question. I'm go
to paragraph 2054.
Thank you, Chairman.
Paragraph 2054.
Yes, I am simply trying to talk about the exchange rate because the exchange loss.
Honorable member,
let me,
I said go to paragraph 2054.
Chairman,
paragraph 2054 is about unpaid certificates on Cocoa Rose project.
And you have, Chairman, you have covered that one because you asked about that, and then the Mutala virtually just cleared the whole.
So your question has been
yes.
So go to paragraph 2060.
So I will go there. So because of that, let me take the time
I
have used.
No, please, no.
Oh,
we have passed that area. So
okay,
go to 2050.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. But let's go to 2057. I know you have talked a lot about the Kokoro, so I won't talk about the amount outstanding. But the infraction here has to do with the delay in payment because I think you suspended payment 27 December 2017. And the auditor's worry was that when you do that, there will be a cost overrun. So you have an extra cost to pay as a result of delay in that. And I know earlier on that question, so you have prepared your mind very well. Can you tell me the extra cost as a result of delaying in paying the certificates due for a year?
Honorable Chair, there's no extra cost. Chairman, you see, we have to take note that some of these certificates dated way back October, November 2016, and they were due 90 days to be paid. So at the time we assumed office, for instance, in March 2017, already, you know, they were overdue. But then we managed to ensure that they did not come at a cost to us. So we've paid all of them.
Yeah, but I thought probably because the roads are priced in dollars with the same exchange laws that they've been trying to prevent me from saying, the people who have suffered a loss as a result of delay in payment. But auditors, earlier on you said that all outstanding roads as a process has been paid. The 2016 and 17 unpaid certificates, have they been cleared?
Honorable Chair, yes. They are cleared. Thank you.
Go to 260. See, my matter is not difficult. CEO, there's an issue here of VAT. purchased from non-VAT registered persons. And in your response, my worry is your response. Your response is that management stated that Cocoa Board deal in billions. So for that matter, 142,000 should not be an issue to be created. Because they are saying that because it was a small money, you pay the money in cash. As for that matter, you decided to deal with non-VAT because the tax due government is too small, and you are dealing in billions. So you don't see why it should be created for 142,000. Is that the case?
Chairman, honestly, this is very unacceptable. It's just tracking my attention. This statement should have been there. Yes. But, the most important thing is that, the total amount of 142,378.35 worth of goods and services procured from non-VAT persons were done under the ticket of emergency with petty cash.
Yes, that is where taxes, how our taxes, because even in our tax system, we have something we call tax stamp, where we chase daily, small one, for 10 Ghana, 20 Ghana per quarter. So talking about paying for that matter, you should, buy from a non-VAT registered, an organization like Cocoa Board, with a high reputation, an organization that knows, and you are dealing with, I know you are from this big four, among the big four and that kind of thing. I'm not sure this is the best practice. I know going forward, you have stopped.
Yes, Chair.
Have you paid the VAT?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
And what is your threshold, management threshold, in terms of awarding this supplier, dealing with suppliers?
Yes, my threshold as Chief Executive is 100,000 Ghana cedis.
Thank you very much, Chief Executive. Since you have paid the VAT, and definitely the sea is lying here, it's more from the north and other areas. I beg you, let's pay tax so that government will get more money to develop the country. Thank you very much. You see, if you were paying these monies, government wouldn't have introduced the e-levy. Because you were not paying, now we are confronted with e-levy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. The next person to ask you questions will be the deputy ranking member.
Thank you very much, Chairman, Vice Chairman. I refer you to paragraph 266 of the Auditor General's report. From the report of the Auditor General, your transport section failed to reveal or to convene a board of survey to dispose of some 18 vehicles which became unserviceable during the period under review. I want to find out from you why it happened and what's taking on that.
Honorable Chair, management has reconstituted the Assets Disposal Committee headed by the Director of Finance to dispose of the unserviceable vehicles. Letters have been written to the divisions. We have a number of divisions to submit the unserviceable vehicles for inclusion so that there will be total disposal of the vehicles.
Thank you very much for the response. I want to take you to paragraph 2073, which has to do with unrecovered vehicles from separated staff. The audit service noted that 3 former officers of Cocoa Board, whose contracts were terminated in January 2017, had in their possession official vehicles allocated to them, as shown in the table 140. We would want to find out what is the status of this practice.
Chairman, the board of directors approved the sale of those vehicles to the retirees, and since then, they've been sold, and then the amount involved has been retrieved by Cocoa Board. Thank you.
Auditors, are you able to confirm or otherwise?
Honorable Chair, yes, that is what was done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. That's all.
Thank you very much. The next one that we'll go to paragraph 281. And paragraph 281 says, fail to exercise due diligence in preparation of financial statements for the 2016-2017 financial year. It says our review of the accounting system and financial reporting of Cocoa Board head office revealed that head office did not prepare consolidated financial statement for the head office and its divisions. Why didn't you prepare the financial statement?
Chairman, as at that time, it wasn't, but ever since then, the financial statements, have been given to the auditors.
Auditors, could you verify that they prepared a financial statement and all those adjustments that made material difference in the ongoing balances were accounted for?
Honorable Chair, yes. Later they brought the financial statement even for that year. The only thing is that it delayed a lot. That is the reason why we have to give them that observation. So they subsequently they prepared. They have been preparing them accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now let's go to paragraph 2088. Absence of title deeds for 4 cocoa marketing company properties. What is the status of these?
Honorable Chair, we called on the estate management and he has submitted copies of correspondence showing the extent of work that had taken place with the landlords. He also explained that management is putting effort in place to obtain the 30 deed. So work is ongoing. We will need time for the conveyancing process to be completed. Thank you, Chairman.
Chairman, thank you. CEO, how long is the conveyancing process taken? It shouldn't take that long. The regularization of the title deed.
It's a bit complex because it's like one state institution took the land from another. Sometimes when you go, even getting the original title becomes difficult. And CMC then becomes a third party.
Yes.
And for it to get the title from the second party, it means the second party will have to chase the original, title from the primary source. So these are the challenges that CMC is going through, and we will need some time to get this thing through.
Chair, I think it's this must have been long in coming. It's a property that you need to have. So my suggestion would be this.
where it is difficult to trace original title dates on landed property that you intend to acquire, let the people do statutory declaration. It's a state institution, they can't get it, but they can do statutory declaration. If after some time, after 21 days, if nobody else lays adverse claim, they can go ahead and assign to you. They can convey to you. Otherwise, the auditors will keep flagging it. These are things we can use administrative means to regularize and straighten. Honestly, I don't see the bottleneck. I don't see the bottleneck.
Honorable Chair, this is another good counsel.
Yes.
Thank you.
He did it pro bono.
But I think with Cocoa Board, there's nothing like pro bono.
Okay. Send your bill later on to them. Paragraph 226 about your financial statement issues. The recommendation was for you to establish a central accounting unit with the sole responsibility of preparing management accounts and consolidated financial statements. Has that one been done?
Yes, that has been done.
Thank you. Now the next person to ask you questions will be Madam Sophia, and it's from paragraph 2094 to 2105.
Thank you, Chairman. Paragraph 2094, award of contract to unqualified supplier, which is a tune of 191,880. Chief Director, please, is the procurement officer with you? Okay. Director of Finance, please. Why do you award contract to unqualified suppliers?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This was done in one of the divisions, but the issue was flagged and the issue has been resolved. We have vetted all the suppliers and we've made sure that all of them are registered suppliers.
Director of Finance, we all know that the Public Procurement Act, Act 663, states that a tender in public procurement shall have the legal capacity to enter the contract. I want to find out if you tendered for the contract with advertisement in the papers.
Honorable Chair, this was basically evacuation, which we pre-select some companies in a pool and then we give the work to. So that was what was done.
But in your selection, I think we all know that when you are given a contract that is more than you need to go through the tender procurement law. And then you are given 191 contracts and you just picked from the pool. Is that right?
Honorable Chairman, I think it's within the Chief Executive's approval. So,
okay, I think you have two issues here. Your next issue is purchase without obtaining 3 quotations. Why did you come by that one too?
Honorable Chairman, this one as I said, it's something that was flagged at the division level, and at the head office, we rectify the issue. So currently, there's nothing like that. We go through the pre-quotations and make sure that all the companies have the necessary documentation before we deal with them.
Auditors, are you satisfied with their performance now?
Honorable Chair, yes. Now the situation has been improved. Subsequent procurements are going through the 3 quotations and other things. Thank you.
Man, maybe if I should, the whole thing is that the companies involved, they are the sole suppliers of the reagents. These are chemicals that they are the sole suppliers. That's why it happens so. Yes.
Then, of course, under the PPA law, you are under such circumstances, you just write to them to clear you. Yes. So that you don't get auditors flagging it as an infraction. So you are permitted under the law to.
Yes.
So
that's why now we've ratified it,
yes,
and then
the law allows you. So.
Okay. Thank you. The next person to be asking you questions will be Madam Angela over here, and from paragraph 2106 to paragraph 2116.
Thank you, Chair. I'll take you to paragraph 2108, where, let's say 2106, that you failed in your duties to update your asset register regularly. And the auditors recommended that you work at it and then regularize the issue. May I know how often you update your register now, and if you have also cleared that with the auditors, and if you can show us a copy?
Honorable Chair, this has to do with one of our divisions. That is the update of the register. And I think that had been done. Now the register had been updated ever since. It was flagged, to the attention of management. We also called the attention of the division for them to update, and they've been updating. Yes, thank you.
Auditors, any news for us?
Honorable Chair, yes, the fixed assets register had been updated.
The date?
Honorable Chair, yes, we normally go there every year. So by the time that we were there, subsequently we saw that it has been updated. Thank you.
My next question is from 2111. It came up that there was a lot of delay in your procurement activities at some of your divisions, especially when the threshold of 5,000 is not within the threshold of 5,000. Examples given in table 144 about the delays indicate that it takes so long, some 329 days, 174 days. In a statement, can you tell us the number of days of delay as at now or before the last audit?
Honorable Chair, the whole issue is that the division are requesting asking for a review of that process. And that review can only be done by the ETC. So we've forwarded to the Entity Tender Committee for it to deal with that. And until we get approval, because we on our own cannot, step aside the existing procurement rules. So we have to, go through the process that is for ETC to review that threshold for us.
Chief Executive, I'm not really satisfied with the answer, but let me just get a clarification from you. You have a threshold of 100,000. Did I hear you right? A few minutes ago. And then the threshold of the division or a division is 5,000. And so that lies within your domain. So assuming they are buying about 5,000, it will not get to where you have mentioned. It's coming to your office. Am I clear? Can you tell me if I'm
Now there's no problem with that. But the point is that it has to go through a process before coming to a head office. That's where we had the problem.
CEO, I think I'm satisfied with the question that now there is no problem. But as to the processes that you go through to get there, they could be cumbersome. But we want a reduction in this number of days, and you have clearly said that there is no problem. So, Honorable Chair, I end here with that question and urge that these days should be reduced, especially if you computerize your system to maybe a month or two, but not a year or over. Thank you.
Yeah, just a follow-up on the issue of the threshold. This is the 2018 report we're looking at, and we are in 2022. Quite a number of years pass, and we still haven't gotten them to give us the decision. When do we expect to get decision from them? I would suggest that, Chairman, if you're unable to tell us, Chairman, to give you a time frame to be able to get results. Thank you. My question is, when do you think we should be able to get feedback from them? Because if you follow up, they should give it to you.
Chairman, we flagged this, before the ETC. So we believe that at the next meeting, you should be able to get it through. Thank you. And this shouldn't be more than a month.
All right, so let's move on to Honorable Deputy Ranking Member.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chief, under Section 2.4B of the Cocoa Board Policy Guidelines, it is expected that the object of the Cocoa Health Extension Division is to provide lean, professional, and cost-effective backup extension services to meet the technical needs of old and new cocoa farmers to enhance their productivity and income. However, in an audit report, the current staff strength of the Cocoa Extension Public-Private Partnership (CEP) program stood at 417 instead of the 800, targeted 800, leading to a shortfall of 383 officers. The staff strength, if you compare that to the expected Cocoa Board target and that of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization's recommendation ratio, it indicates that shared extension staff ratio, there's a need for you to do something about it. I want to find out from you, what is it that your outfit has done with respect to the staff strength for shared, and what measures have you put in place, sir?
Honorable Chair, at the time the report was made, the staff extension, ratio to farmer was around 1:2,900. But currently, because we recruited 1,366 extension officers to beef up the strength of the unit, we've been able to reduce, or improve the rate to 1:985. We are not yet at the FAO standard because that's 1:500, but I think we've come closer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Possibly gives room to employ more young agri-graduates, so you may have to consider that in the coming years, Roxanne's constituents can also get employed. I mean, I'm not lobbying for my constituents, that of Roxanne, I mean. Yes, Chief, I want to take you to paragraph 2125, which is on absence of capital assets maintenance register. In the Auditor General's report of 2018, it is revealed that SHED does not have a maintenance strategy to provide a systematic approach in ensuring plan and corrective programs of its property, plant, and equipment. They further state that the absence of this capital asset maintenance strategy may create a condition that could lead to a structured approach in the maintenance of shared assets towards the achievement of overall organizational objectives. They urge that you consider the development of this capital asset maintenance plan. What is the status of it? Is it something that you currently have in place?
Honorable Chair, COCO Board, that's the parent body, has a capital assets maintenance strategy, and this has been captured in the board policy guidelines for the establishment. So that policy covers every division, under COCO Board, and therefore, Honorable Chair, in the case of SHED, they've been covered by COCO Board's policy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to take you back to the earlier question I asked about the inadequate staff strength of SHED. The auditors also recommended that you provided them with logistics to work with. Is it the case that now they are fully equipped to logistics? Yeah, we are talking about motorbikes for these extension officers to do their work.
Yes, Honorable Chair, already we've given them some pickups. We bought about 50 pickups for, this, and then we are also in the process of procuring 1,500 motorbikes to support them. Thank you.
So when do you intend recruiting more extension officers? I have a lot. I have an agri college in my constituency. So the students there always fall on the member of parliament for support. So can we get you more to recruit?
Honorable Chair, that will be subject to budgetary constraints. At the moment, it's tough.
I know if you
when it improves, you definitely
I know if you say it now, your office will be inundated with a lot of applications. So we can speak behind the scenes. Are you done with your audition? Okay, so when we finish, okay, Honorable Charles.
Thank you, Chair. So I just want you to go back to the ratio again, 1:1,000. The ratio 1:1,000, even you want to bank it to one
Honorable members, order.
500.
Honorable Deputy Minister for
I
Agriculture.
just want to draw your attention
Order.
to the fact that once you do not have all these logistics, even the meeting of 1:2,000 is hypothetical. There's no way you will be able to meet that figure. Because the extension officers will not be able to get to. You just said something about pickups, but you also raised an issue that it is disheartening when your roads, people cannot go, due to the bad nature of the roads, people cannot reach the farmers. So with all this ratio, then we do not have the needed things like motorbikes to get there. You'll still not meet that thing. So,
Honorable Chair, some of the extension officers already have motorbikes, and we are procuring an additional 1,500 to cover all of them. Once that is done, I think we strongly believe they will be over.
All right, so let's move to Honorable Mutala, paragraph 2131.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director for Finance, are you conversant with the Financial Administrative Regulation 204? Are you conversant with it?
Honorable Chairman, I'm conversant. Yes.
Very well.
Yes.
It has been repealed. But we use it. Yes, it has been
Well,
repealed.
as at now, it has been repealed.
But we still use it.
But we have to use it because it was used to cover
this
particular.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, yes. It has been repealed.
Could you kindly tell the small elephants to allow me to ask my question? Director, if you are conversant with it, what is your position on an issue of vehement without approval? As specifically directed in the Act or in the law?
Honorable Chairman, yes, it's against the law. So when the issue was brought to our attention, the division in question brought
2131
those areas to our attention, and management gave the approval for the environment.
But the auditors are saying that it was violated. That is what is captured in the report. And for which reason you had over expenditure without approval.
Honorable Chairman, if you look at the budget then, in total, the budget was not overspent, but it was specific lines which were overruns.
My issue is not about, I have seen that.
Yes.
That is not the issue here.
Yes.
The issue is the disregard to what the law says. In fact, the auditors themselves have indicated that you did not expend beyond the approved budget, but within the departments and what is required, the law was not followed. Why?
Yeah, Honorable Chair, that's why I said it was at one of our divisions, but it was brought to our attention. We immediately rectified the issue.
The auditors also recommend that the officer whose inaction caused the irregularity should be sanctioned by management. Have you done that? See you.
Honorable Chair, you know, when this matter came to our attention, we weighed the whole issue. The point is that the same SPD had unutilized budget resources, whereas certain budget lines had been, you know, overused, that's registered overruns. They hadn't utilized other areas. So I think in anticipation of that, you know, they had the ominous But then there were
Honorable,
Chava can anticipate you.
Honorable CEO, you can anticipate me that I have an issue. I don't know whether we are looking at the same document. I'm looking at page 466 and 467. That is table 146. Over expenditure against budget environment without approval. Now, column A is budget. Column B is actual. So if you go to page 467, the total for column A is 12.3 million. And the total for column B, which is the actual, is 17.2 million, which means that the budget was exceeded by 4.9. Explain it to me.
Honorable Chairman, yes, you're absolutely right. These are budget lines within the composite budget. So if you look at the composite budget, it was never exceeded. It was the budget line after line, which is what we've enumerated here, which is where the problem is. But as soon as it came to our attention, you know, the environment, the appropriate procedure was followed, memos were written, investigations were conducted, and we decided that we will allow the environment to take place. So this is an extract from the budget.
Mr. Ray.
Yes, sir.
Look at item 9 on the page 467. Yes. That is direct research and agronomy.
Yes.
The budget is 5.9, 5.4.
Yeah.
Actual 7.3. And auditors, this figure there, one page, why is it positive?
Honorable Chair, we have to add it up because I think it's a typographical error.
So it should be negative before you can arrive at a total of 4.9. Okay, all right. So that's okay. So you can continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my CEO, let's look at rent subsidy. On table 146. The budget was 68,000. And you ended up spending 120,255.61. I thought this is an expenditure you would have before you expended. What occasioned that?
This, I'm told, had to do with staff rent.
I know, Cocoa Board, you have facilities across the country.
Not for everybody.
And so if you didn't have for everybody, if it has to do with the rent, you would have known this have an issue. Even, okay. Or yearly rent changes.
No, Honorable Chair, there are some situations where we have emergencies, such as maybe there's flood, somebody is being moved immediately. That one, although we have the budget, it becomes administrative, and you have to do it administrative for those people. So sometimes you have situations like that. Although you have the budget there are situations where you cannot ignore because of the issue at hand.
So could you kindly explain? 5,000, you ended up spending 15,437 Ghana cedis, about 208%. Is it for funerals?
No, Honorable Chair. I mean, sometimes, as hard as you want to control donations, sometimes some of these things do happen. So, meetings with chief farmers, you know, going to talk to farmers or chiefs, meeting chiefs, and you know they are very central to the work that we do at Cocoa Board. So I do take your point, but we do try very hard not to exceed the budget, but sometimes it is a bit difficult.
Is it an admission of failure? Because I know in the board, on the board, representatives, and some of them are even traditional rulers. So why would you find it difficult to, and for which reason the auditors have identified the non-adherence to budgetary control? Why should that be a case?
Chairman, you know, SPD in the last 4 years has been going around looking for new areas to establish, you know, demonstration farms, that nurseries, and so on and so forth. So from 2017 coming, certainly, yes, you budget, but once they are meeting chiefs to look for land and all these things, will exceed, you know, the budgetary allocations. So you can budget, but when you get to the field, the situation will be different.
Chairman, just last one on this before I move to the second question. Oh, Chairman. What is your number? Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's go to paragraph 2138. High maintenance costs on overage vehicles. An amount of 870,791 was spent on vehicles repairs and maintenance instead of the budget amount of 535,000, resulting in an over expenditure of 335,791.88, representing budget overrun of 62%. Why?
Chairman, the vehicles were overaged and causing high cost of maintenance and repairs. That was the reason. But then when this was brought to our attention, that's management. You know, this is one of our divisions. We moved a step to procure 60 vehicles, you know, to replace them.
So, your own guidelines specifically detailed how long you need to use vehicles after you dispose of them, you maintain them. It is very clearly stated even in the audit report that four-wheel drive vehicles 4x4 shall be replaced after 7 years or 250,000 kilometers, or whichever comes first. You can have it within 2 years. Once you use it over 250,000 kilometers, per your own guidelines, you need to replace them. Ambulances shall be replaced after 12 years, or if you use them for 200,000 kilometers. And trucks and tankers and the like shall be replaced after 10 years or 250,000 kilometers. So if you tell me that it was drawn, your attention was drawn to this, and why you expended so much money in repairing them when you knew that per your own guidelines set up by your own self to regulate the conduct of those who use those vehicles, why would you allow that to happen? And who is in charge of this?
Chairman, you know, this is a matter that we came face to face with in 2016, 2017. Some of the vehicles we are talking about were as old as 20 years. 12 years. So...
How old is the vehicle you're using yourself, the CEO?
Myself, I'm using 2016 vehicle.
Okay.
That's what I'm using now.
Okay. How many years now?
And one is 2014.
Okay.
I'm using two vehicles. One is 2014, one is 2016.
You're under auto?
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
Now, yeah. So, Honorable Chair, the whole thing is that, you know, these were very old vehicles that we came to meet, and depend upon the resources of Cocoa Board, because we must note that vehicles are not the only, things that Cocoa Board has to deal with. Just a while ago, we were talking about extension. Extension is very key, but now we cannot recruit as many as we would have wanted, or because of constraints of budget. So I want to believe that my predecessors could not procure new vehicles, or because of budgetary constraints. And when we came in, we have to do the best that we could under the circumstances.
See, is Cocoa Board cash trap? Be sincere.
Oh, yes.
Chairman, I think that it's understandable. The entire country is on its knees financially.
Oh,
we are all struggling.
Yeah, because of COVID, everything is not as
normal. Had projected long before COVID that our economy was already on its knees.
Chairman, with Cocoa Board is different.
So it's COVID?
COVID, yes.
How about Ukraine? What effect has Ukraine got on Cocoa Board?
It's going to affect fertilizers.
I believe after the resolution,
Chairman, he's raising very pertinent issues because with the Ukraine, fertilizer is going to be, very difficult to come by, and then it's also going to be very expensive. So he's right. And so we have to let the whole country know that it should be a warning that we are not going to get the fertilizers.
Well, let's move forward. Let's move forward.
Come on.
If I give you the floor now, you blame COVID till tomorrow morning. So,
Chairman.
COVID. Why are you blaming COVID for cocoa production?
Chairman.
Why are you blaming COVID? In the villages, COVID, we didn't hear anything. We went to farm, did everything. Did COVID affect the cocoa trees also?
No, it's the market, the price.
The price?
The price, yes. Chairman, what is happening is that
you sold below the...
Exactly.
The market price?
Exactly. Exactly. Chairman,
that will be all for you.
Chairman, ports were closed, factories were closed, factories that do the grinding in Europe, in Asia, in America, they were closed.
So how is the market now?
It's now beginning. It's not that people are going to stadium and so on and so forth. So it's not that the market is opening. But
so they'll start consuming chocolate.
The price moves slowly, behind the market.
Somalia too doesn't affect
I think Murtala is abusing the privilege you have given him. Murtala is abusing the privilege you have given him. Murtala, if you don't know, let me tell you. You are supposed to ask questions relating to the Auditor General's report. These questions you are asking have nothing to do with the report. And you are abusing the privilege. It has nothing to do with this report.
Let's move on to...
What has it got to... What has issues in Ukraine? Ukraine. I got to do with this Auditor General report.
Order.
Please.
Order.
Let me advise you.
Order.
Let me advise you. The CEO...
Ranking.
The CEO
order.
Doesn't determine what is a pertinent question. So don't push words into his mouth. He doesn't determine what's a
Clark,
you should stick to this thing.
I need to
have
have
about what we are doing.
The mic that can control the...
If you do that, you are bringing arguments.
My members here...
Everybody can argue.
Partisan.
Everybody can argue.
I need that mic to control them. Murtala, I will change your position for you. Now, let's go to Honorable Chinia. Paragraph 2145.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chief.
Order.
Non-recognition of agricultural assets. I want to find out whether you are abreast with the amended International Accounting Standards, IAS 16 and 41, for better plant. Are you familiar with it? The auditors found out that the division O's cocoa farms and seed gardens which qualified as bearer plants but were not recognized as part of PPE of Cocoa Board in the financial statements in accordance with the IAS as stated. You say you are abreast with it. Your response for me is not very clear. The auditors found out that the division owes cocoa farms and seed, but the response that you have given, if you can give us some details. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the cocoa trees and seedlings which are found on the cocoa farm and the seed garden are bearer plants. And they are used for the production of cocoa seeds and seeds which are then given to our farmers. And so they are not really, they are aiding the process of the work that we are carrying on. And we have to be mindful of IAS 41. So therefore, in accordance with the scope, and we have looked at this carefully, IAS 41, the cocoa farms and the seed gardens cannot be accounted as assets under IAS 41. Since if you look at the provisions of IAS, and this took effect from January 2022, which is this year, there's a specific provision in the Act which exempts bearer plants. And that's exactly what we have done.
Thank you for your response. My second question is on paragraph 2150 on cocoa non-deduction and wrongful payment of rent allowance. One of your staff, Mr. N.S. Zatu, who was occupying a bungalow, was still paid 11% of his salary as rent allowance. And the auditors recommended that management should recover the wrongful payment amounting to 25,000. Have you done that?
Yes, Honorable Chairman, the amount has been recovered.
Auditors, can you confirm?
Honorable Chair, yes, the amount has been recovered.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm done.
Let's go to paragraph 51, 2156. Honorable Ranking Member.
The infraction is that the cocoa clinic is operating a procedure where they are own about 9.9 million. 9 million. I don't know whether they offer their services on credit. What is the policy?
Honorable Chairman, an amount of 5.5 million Ghana cedis have been recovered from clients who are still in business, leaving 1.9 million outstanding. Out of that, 27,600.26 Ghana cedis is due from companies that cocoa clinic suspects to be defunct. The cocoa clinic has therefore written to the Registrar General to confirm the going concern status of the companies to enable the recovery of the debt. Additionally, management is in the process of engaging the services of a debt collector to assist in the recovery of the debt. Thank you.
My real question is, what system do you operate at the cocoa clinic? Why do you have to have people owing you? When people come for health services, don't they have to pay in advance, or what is the arrangement?
You know, it's a corporate institution, and therefore they provide services for various companies and institutions. And when the services are because the staff of such companies will go there for services, treatment, and so on and so forth. Then later, the companies involved go to pay, and that's how come these indebtedness arose. Yeah, but now it's changed. That policy has changed. Thank you.
What is the new change that would make sure we don't have this kind of situations where you are now recommending that 700,000 or so should be apparently written off? What is the change in policy?
Well, the change in policy, Honorable Chairman, is to be really, I don't want to use the word aggressive, but when people request for services, we put system in place where they come and pay before the services are done, or we are now asking for a proportion of the fees to be paid upfront before the services are done. We have strengthened the debt collection unit to make sure that we go after these people. So, you know, we are trying to bring in a system, something like cash and carry, so that we can reduce the incidence of some of these things.
The auditors, are you satisfied with the new arrangement?
Honorable Chair, yes, because it's the process that they are recovering. So the only thing is the different companies that it must be addressed. Thank you.
So we are now not going to have, we are going to put in place system down and show that we are dealing with viable companies, not companies that are likely to wind up or get defunct. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. That will be all for me, Chairman. Yeah, paragraph 2161. The infraction is that 3 vehicles, each about 16 years and 13 years and 22 years, have still not been replaced, and they have not been disposed of. Have these vehicles been disposed of now?
And they've been replaced.
They have been disposed of now. How much did you realize from disposal?
Chairman, normally we do it at the global industry auction. So vehicles from different that the various divisions are brought together for such an auction. So we wouldn't be able to indicate the exact amount for these specific vehicles.
Did you also seek approval from the Chief of Staff in order to ride these vehicles off?
Yeah, GV vehicles we do.
This morning, the chairman said that those kind of disposals, you don't need the authorization of the Chief of Staff. So you should just follow the procurement law and what it says about disposals. And I think I advise you that you do the same. Thank you.
Well noted.
All right, so let's move on to your last 2 issues. Honorable Yusuf, paragraph 2167.
Chairman, thank you. Chairman, it has to do with Bonsu Cocoa Institute. And the first infraction there is investment above 15% investment portfolio policy. Your own policy suggests that, except in the case of treasury bills and call deposits, you wouldn't tolerate investing more than 15% in any single institution or in a single security. But in 2017, you did invested in some financial institutions beyond this 15%. And the auditors have cited this as an infraction. Do you agree with them?
Yes. And the situation has been rapidly brought under control.
Director, just take your time. I said, do you agree with them? Yes.
Yes.
It means that you have breached a law. Do you agree?
It is a policy. Yeah, breach the policy, yeah.
Good. Do you have any sanction regime when it comes to breaching your own policies in that institution?
We do, but you see, in this particular case, it's the disinvestment.
I'm okay. You said you do. I've just asked to know whether you do, and you said you do.
Yes, we do.
That's
yes.
fine.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, have you sanctioned anybody in order that you deter others from repeating what occurred?
Yeah. Yes, under normal circumstances, that may be the case, but in this instance, it is the disinvestment. You see, you place money on investment, and looking at the exigencies of your business operation, sometimes decisions must be made to disinvest the money.
Have you disinvested the money from these financial institutions?
Yeah, we disinvest and reinvest all the time. So, yes, in case of these investment houses or banks, yes. But then we disinvest and reinvest, the case may be. But we do take your concern, and that is why we now monitor it very seriously. And investments in the various portfolios are now evenly spread below the 15%, so that we don't repeat these mistakes going forward.
That's fine. All I want to suggest is that once there's some punitive measures put in place, officers will be mindful of that, and they wouldn't repeat it, because the auditors have cited that it's the deputy financial controller who didn't do his work well, just to ensure that next time when you come here, we don't have some of these things occurring. Chairman, I think I'm done with this one, except that...
Let me find out what is the reason for the policy not to invest more than 15% of the total investment of the institute in one single. There must be a reason. I have some idea, but I want to know what the reason of this policy.
It's diversification of risk. You don't want to put all your eggs into one basket.
I have a different question. First of all, I want to know whether it is the policy of Cocoa Board that institutions like Cocoa Research, Bunsu Cocoa Institute can invest their monies. Is there a policy of Cocoa Board that institutions like Cocoa, Bunsu Cocoa College and Cocoa, maybe Cocoa Research Institute have funds that they can invest? Because I take the view that, if I'm wrong, correct me, the funds they have are funds that are normally advanced by Cocoa Board for them to run the college.
Chairman, they also have IGF. You know, Crick, you know, they do a lot of research, and they are coming out with all manner of innovative products, even with regards to chocolates. And now, Honorable Member, it will interest to know that they've been able to find biodiesel from share. So when they commercialize these things, it means they'll be earning a lot of money. The same thing applies to Bunsu.
Yeah, thank you. It's all right. Yes, it's all right.
Yes, Chairman, with your permission, since he mentioned share, just a very short one. I mean, he knows that I'm from Bole, and that is where the share office is located. And you're saying that you have discovered yes, so out of the research, they have discovered, that's what I'm talking about. My concern has to do with the gestation period of the share tree. Are you making effort to reduce it drastically? What have you done so far?
Chairman, we know that the gestation period used to be 25 years or more. But now, through research, they brought it to 3 years, applying various grafting techniques. They brought it to 3 years. And then also, we are researching into irrigation, because once you apply irrigation, the seeds germinate faster. And we want to explore all that before scaling it, to the farmers. Already, we have some community woodlots that are being implemented by the station at Boli. In fact, we want to commercialize the whole thing, domesticate the share plant in the north. And that's how come we are also looking at the products, not only the butter, but to go also into biogas.
Chairman, thank you. I will not want to go into it again. We'll perhaps have to discuss this with you privately. The second infraction has to do with an indebtedness to the college, and we are talking about Bonsu Cocoa Institute, to the tune of 276,164.54 Ghana cedi. Have you been able to recover this money?
Chairman, to some extent, not total. 134,040 Ghana cedis have been recovered. So we still have 142,126 outstanding. And management has written demand notices to the clients concerned to retrieve all these amounts. Thank you.
CEO, when do you think this will be recovered? When do you think you'll be able to recover this money? What timelines have you put in place to ensure that this money is recovered?
Chairman, we've tasked the college to do everything to retrieve these monies, because the institutions involved, are known, and so that's how come notice them to make sure that they pay. But it's not getting easy. You also put pressure on management to ensure that they bring us our money within 6 months.
Within 6 months.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm okay once there's a time limit. If you work within the time limit and get the money, it will be better than just leaving it opened. So, Chairman, I'm satisfied with his answers, and then you take a decision.
All right. So that ends the issues raised in the report. But as usual, we have some public interest questions for you. And I'll start with Honorable Agboja. Public interest question. Just one.
Thank you, Chairman. And to our colleagues and a former senior colleague in the House who is heading the institute are here to respond. I take note of his response to a question on Cocoa Road audit. Chairman, I'm not sure whether, since he mentioned it, the board or the CEO can provide a copy of the report. Since he's mentioned it here, if you can provide a copy of that report to yourselves, the committee here. But let me ask my substantive question. I'm told he said they've concluded the audit on the value for money. They are calling value for money. Okay. they have concluded the value for money report on those, of which I'm thinking they can provide. The question I want to ask is, how did you select the company that carried out the auditor? I'm asking this because the minister.
This is not the public interest question. The answer provided by the honourable members. Order. Honourable Deputy Ranking. The question was clear with me, so please allow me. Yes, but I just want to direct him that our colleague, former member, the CEO, says that they use the internal audit unit in-house. Committee, a committee of Cocoa Board,
both external and internal composition.
So you sought the services of external auditors.
Yes.
In Ghana.
Yes.
That in addition to your internal auditors,
exactly,
they did the audit.
They did the audit. Yes.
So you can now clarify the question.
So how did you select the external auditors? I'm asking this because the minister said, as of the time they selected the external auditors, and I quote, the PPA board was not in place, so he couldn't tell me which procurement method was used to select the external auditors. So can you tell us how you selected the auditors?
Yes, Honorable Chair. What happened was that
don't do that. I'm the chair. If you want to take the chair, I can stand up for you to come and take the chair.
Chairman,
I'll give it to you. Why? You can OPK. You are good in leading your leadership from the backbench, but you can't lead this committee from the backbench.
Yeah, Chairman, I've gotten the question. Chairman, what happened was that at the time of the constitution of that interim review, that's the review committee, PPA was not in place. That is right. So what we were advised to do was to write to the various professional bodies, Ghana Institute of Surveyors, Ghana Rules Contractors, and then Institute of Surveyors. So we wrote to them, and they all responded. The issue was that they were to select a company in Ghana that had nothing whatsoever to do with the ongoing Cocoa Rose projects. So they recommended, and we have all the letters that they wrote to us recommending, the companies. And based on their recommendation, recommending these external, auditors, we then constituted the committee, comprising those that have been recommended by these professional bodies, and then, technical staff from Cocoa Board. Thank you.
Chairman, is there any part of the Procurement Act or Public Financial Management Act that allows any public entity to go outside of that law because the board or the legitimate decision-making body of that entity is constituted for you to do what you have done? Is there any law that backed what you did? Because PPA board was eventually established.
Chairman, this is an anticipated question, because the point is that at the point in time when the committee was being constituted, PPA was not in place. It was not in place, and we couldn't wait, for PPA to be established.
Honorable CEO, why couldn't you wait for the proper thing to be done?
Chairman, it's not that the proper thing was not done, because the advice that we got was
if
that
you did not follow the procurement law, was that proper?
This was a committee a committee
that involve external people.
Yes.
So you pay them. Yes. By virtue of paying them, you should procure their services. That must go through a procurement process.
Chairman,
that is the point.
Chairman, the payment was in respect of their transportation and those services that they rendered. Not
so, Honorable CEO, do you want to say that any agency can form a committee in order to avoid the process of going through procurement, form a committee and invite external people to come and pay them TNT and the rest, and that is lawful? Is that what you're trying to tell the committee?
Chairman, I think I have established a premise for this, that at a point in time, PPA was not in place. And the advice
again, our own law says that if you want to procure goods and services, follow the procurement law. If you are telling this committee that because the PPA board was not in place, so you are at liberty to do what you did, is that a point you want to establish to us? What couldn't you wait for the board to be constituted, then you then follow the process and procure? How urgent is the situation in doing, what do you call it, value for money audits, such that you cannot wait for the PPA board to be put in place so that you go through the process?
Chairman, here we are already, you know, there have been a lot of questions why there have been delays, you know, even in the work of the committee, the review committee. I think it's come up here, you know.
Okay. All right, so thank you very much. I think we'll end it here. But you spent 2.4 million. They have prepared a report for you. Can you make a copy of the report to this committee?
Exactly so.
Thank you very much. We'll give you 1 week should be sufficient. If you can bring it tomorrow, we'll be happy.
But let me get this clear, because this is an issue which a substantive question was asked on the floor of the House. And the minister came, I'm reliably informed that the minister answered this question. And he brought the documents. So I want to believe that this document is before the August House, Parliament.
No, this document is not in Parliament.
Chairman,
and we asked the clerk.
Because it's the same question you are asking here.
This committee to get those documents. Nobody's afraid of
Honorable Chair.
From your committee.
Honorable Chair.
The ranking member for roles. Why won't you use
what is wrong with that?
To do that?
No, what is wrong with that? Accountability, and you are running away from accountability.
It is not proper. It is not proper.
Honorable members.
It is not proper.
Honorable members.
You are the ranking member for roles. Why won't you use your committee to do that?
Honorable CEO, you see politicians, you see the way they are behaving. Order.
Chairman, let him use the appropriate front.
Whether there is report in this house or not, this committee need a copy in order to finalize our report. In fact, this might even settle the matter once and for all. So we want you to give us a copy of the report. That will be all. And we want to thank you for coming.
Chairman, please, before you conclude, I need your guidance on the principle of money of double jeopardy. I need your guidance on that, because I know the rules of this house.
This matter has come on the floor of the house. It's been dealt with. So why would you want to bring it to the committee level on a very sensitive matter? When the minister came, why didn't you ask the minister? Why didn't you ask the minister for the report?
Honorable members, Honorable Yusuf, this is my directive. I need a copy of the report. Honorable Chinia, you are a member of parliament. You are a respected person in your constituency. And to all of us. So I want to thank you, Cocoa Board, for coming. And your issues were many, but you've been able to respond to them. You hear from us through the report that will be issued to the House for adoption. But as I said, we need a copy of the report of the... Thank you very much for coming. You are discharged.
Thank you. Thank you.
Honorable members, let's have Data Protection Commission.
We will not give it to you.
Data protection. Clerk, take them through the oath.
You want to see your Bible? Yes. I swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth. And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much. You may be seated.
Honorable Deputy Minister, you are welcome with your team. Kindly introduce yourselves to the committee.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Amapoma Boateng, MP for Drabin constituency in the Ashanti region. I'm here with the Chief Director.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is Magdalena Pinting, the Chief Director of the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. My name is Patricia. I'm the Executive Director of the Data Protection Commission.
Good afternoon, Chair. Honorable Chair. Abukar Mohammed Mahmoud is my name, Chief Accountant, Data Protection Commission.
Thank you very much for coming, and then we want to apologize for keeping you long. And once you came, we should have taken you before Cocoa Board, but there was a reason why we took Cocoa Board, so we want to apologize for keeping you waiting.
Thank you, Chairman. We would also want to apologize for not being able to come earlier than today. So
okay.
We just hope that we wouldn't be long.
You will not be long.
Thank you.
The issues are not many, so we hope that you are not long. Once the issues are adequately responded to, so we'll start immediately with paragraph 368. That will be taken by the ranking member. Kofi.
Yeah, on paragraph table 8. I notice that your current liabilities rose from 73,000 to 208,000, an increase of about 182%. What caused it? What caused the increase?
Honorable Chair, the Chief Accountant for the Data Protection Commission will address that question. Thank you.
You can't answer that question.
Sorry, we didn't have the booklet with us.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Some people are protesting about the question. So let me ask you. I noticed that you paid compensation of employees for the first time in 2016. Why is the case?
Honorable Chair, the Data Protection Act was passed in 2012, and the Office of the Commission was established in 2015. So beginning of the Data Protection Commission was in 2015, and therefore the first time they started paying staff was in 2016. And I think that applies to the previous question too. Thank you.
Okay, let's move to the issues. The first issue is inability to account for interest. And here, one Mrs. Teki Akwete Fakona and Mr. Huita were given 5,882 cedis to travel. They did not account for the interest. And then also another 1,655 was also given to Mrs. Teki Akwete Fakona or Fakon. And then the last one is 8,036 cedis again to Mrs. Teki Akwete Fakona. They were all impresses. And the auditors find out that they had not been accounted for. Specifically, these things happened in 2016. have they been accounted for now?
Honorable Chair, the official receipts were obtained and made available to the auditors to inspect. Thank you.
Can the monies have been retrieved?
Mr. Chairman, the monies have been retrieved. Sincerely, all the receipts and the other relevant documents were submitted for our verification. Thank you.
Okay, the next one. You paid some monies to Public Services Commission to carry on some training for your staff. And the auditors found out that this amount that were paid to Public Services, you didn't get any receipts for the amount. So how are you sure the monies were paid to the Public Services Commission?
Honorable Chair, the general counterfoil receipt has been obtained and made available to the auditors for inspection.
From the Public Services Commission?
Yes.
Auditor, this anomaly has been rectified.
Mr. Chairman, I can confirm that. Thank you.
Am I finished? Oh, there's the last one. Who is taking? I think it's the last one. Who is taking it? You take it. Which one? So I should take that, the next one. I've reached here. I've done this one. Maybe I here. Yes. Yes, 395. Okay. Paragraph 394. Outstandings are advanced to the former executive director. Amount involved is 252,805. Mrs. Teki Akwete Fakun was appointed as acting executive director of the commission in a letter dated 5th March 2013 and was confirmed as executive director in a 4-year renewable contract from May 29, 2014. The letter of appointment did not state her remuneration. Subsequently, the Fair Wages Commission determined the salary structure and allowance of the Data Protection Commission. The Ministry of Finance later forwarded the salary structure to the Data Commission, but indicated the effective date of implementation as 1st January 2017. It's a long one. The board chairman requested a review of the implementation date to provide. Former executive chairman has been working for the commission. The minister, in a letter signed by the chief director, informed the board chairman that until December 2014, the executive director was under the employment of the ministry e-transform project and was paid monthly salaries. The former executive director later cited dispute this allegation. Okay, I think the long and short of it is that the executive director was paid some allowances and in lieu of salary, and then the ministry is saying that he was also on a salary because he was working with some outfit called e-transform project, and so the auditors are demanding that advances should be refunded. What is the situation now?
Honorable Chair, the amount due to the previous ED of the commission was computed and she was paid as we deemed accurate. But since then, she's commenced litigation against the ministry and the commission, and the case is now with the Attorney General and the court, and it's been adjourned. So we're waiting for the outcome of that. Thanks.
I don't get you. You said?
So with what you read,
yeah,
we computed what we believed was due to her, and paid a check to her, but she disputed the figure.
Oh, okay.
So she's gone to court, and we're waiting for the outcome of that litigation to know whether we still owe her or otherwise.
Okay. I think if it's in court, then we will leave it at this stage for the court to determine.
Yeah, so that will be all for you. And Tolia, you won't keep long.
Yeah.
You are discharged.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Honorable members, that brings us to the end of the discussion of the report of the Director General for 2018. And tomorrow, we are expecting Ministry of Energy, some agencies and the Ministry of Energy to appear before the committee. So the sitting of the committee is adjourned to tomorrow at 9:30 in the forenoon.
Thank you.